DOTE.
Welcome to the Installing DOTE Advanced tutorial, and we're assuming that you've taken a look and tried already to install DOTE using the basic tutorial for how to install DOTE. So here we're going to cover some more advanced features and also problems that you might encounter, and guide you to where to look for solutions, as well as show you some little tricks. So here we see the download page, which hopefully you've already downloaded and your version and tried to install it, and hopefully you've managed to install it, but it may be that there was a problem. That may not be our issue, because it may be your IT department and they have admin rights and you don't, so you need to sort that out with them. Or it may be that there's some problem, so please let us know if you have full rights to install and something still goes wrong. Then let us know and we can try and fix that. That very, very rarely happens. And so we've got these three versions, and if you download, then you'll find that you have the latest version, because these always access the latest version. You can go to the archive on GitHub, and on GitHub you'll see a list of earlier versions. And of course, after a period of time, there may be new updates and hot fixes and bug fixes that you need to download. Just clicking on these buttons will download you the latest one. And if you want to know what version you do have, if you go to DOTE, here I have DOTE open with a Lego demo project. If you go to Help and look at About and click About, you'll see here, and I have a version particularly here. This is a version that you won't be seeing. This is a particular version we're testing. Then you'll see whichever version. It might be 1.0.0, it might be 1.0.1, it might be 1.1.0, depending when you downloaded the latest version. And then if you look at the GitHub pages, you might see, oh, it's already updated. And in a future release, we will have some sort of automatic updater that will allow you to just say, keep me updated, or tell me when there's an update, and then how can I install it. But at the moment, you have to decide that manually in this version. And of course, that may have changed in the future, and then you just ignore what I just said. Okay, so that's the version. And then you can update. All you have to do to update is just go to the page here and click latest release, or go to GitHub and you can download it directly from there as well. There's a lot more information there and earlier versions, but here will get you the latest. Download and just run it as you did before, and it will just install. Mac may ask you, Apple may ask, do you want to keep the earlier version? It's best not to keep earlier versions, but you can do. In Windows you can't. You'll just have a new version replacing the old one. And that will just happen very quickly in 10-20 seconds, depending on your machine and how fast it is. And it will just open DOTE, and everything should be back to where it was just before with the previous version when you'd left. So please remember to quit DOTE before you do a new install or upgrade. And not have it running at the same time. And then it will open and everything should be working. If there is some issue to do with the new version may cause some problems with if you've had projects with earlier versions, then we'll let you know about that. But usually there's not going to be a problem. Okay, so issues that happen with Windows, very rarely do we find any issues. There may for some reason be some Windows doesn't recognize that this is certified software, and it may ask you to agree to install it. The same can happen with Apple as well, for some reason it may not recognize it as certified software, and so it will require you to approve it. Windows 11 especially may be more aggressive in saying that even though this is recognized software, it still is unsure about it, and that's because there's an extra level of security in Windows 11. So that you just have to say, no, I trust DOTE, and it will go away, that warning. There are the other little errors, and if you go to the installation, the other problems that may occur, then if you look down you'll see that there are some things sometimes to do with group policy and asking your IT to sort something out to allow DOTE to run. And if there are any other issues that come up, we will put them here on the help guide to try and help you solve those. Okay, so that's the sort of main things that might come up with installation and then upgrading. But there's also other things that need to be thought about, and that's to do with settings. And there is in the help guide a whole description about settings. And what we're interested in, I'll just go to DOTE now. What we're interested in, if we go to File and Settings, is that when you want to create a waveform, and you can look at the timeline video tutorial to get an idea of how the waveform is constructed, and the media manager, when you import media and then they're viewed here, waveforms are created. But sometimes that fails with the internal waveform generator in DOTE. And here you can see at the very bottom we've got something about additional audio and video format support, and we're using what's called FFmpeg, which is a much more sophisticated package for working with video and audio, but we can't include it inside DOTE for licensing reasons. It's open source software. And what you can do, here you see I have an address here where things are stored. What you can do is say download, and if you just click the download button it should do everything you need. But you may want to put it in a different place, and currently it's being put inside the DOTE application folder, but you may want to put it somewhere else. But the best thing is just to click download FFmpeg and FFprobe, and it says missing here. If I do that, you'll see what it should happen. It should say downloading, and there we go. That's FFmpeg, almost done, and there's FFprobe. It may take a small amount of time because it's downloading over the internet, and now they're available. And that means the waveform generator is being done automatically with a much better package of software, and so it should produce waveforms more easily with a range of videos. So that's done in your settings, something to do every time you install. If you upgrade, you're going to have to redo it. So always come here after you do an upgrade and then say download FFmpeg and FFprobe, and it will have everything ready. And that's all you need to do. If you're not upgrading, then you don't have to come back to this again. The other thing that you need to install if you want to use the full functionality of DOTE is in checkpoints and auto backups, the different version control systems. So here's checkpoints. If you want to see checkpoints and use checkpoints, and here you see there's just one checkpoint from 3 months ago, nothing has been done, but there could be a long list of checkpoints that I've made. Go to the checkpoint video to learn about that. Then you won't see those, and it won't work. If you're in Apple Mac, it will actually say as soon as you open this, hey, you need to install Git, G-I-T, and Git is open source software that's used by 80–90% of software developers in the world today. So it's very established and very secure, and it will say download it, and it will download an Apple version of that. So you just say yes, and it should do that, and take maybe 30 seconds, a minute to do that, depending. Windows doesn't do that automatically. So then if you go to the page for how to install, I'm just going back to that page here, you'll see there is installing Git. And if you go to the checkpoints page, I'll just do that. Then here, setting up checkpoints, auto backups, how to install Git. So if you just click on that link, for Windows, for Mac OS, it will tell you. You can do it manually if you wish. But Windows, you're going to have to download and choose the version you need according to your computer systems, 32-bit or 64-bit. And then run it, and then there's a lot of dialog boxes come up, and you just basically say yes, yes, yes to all of them. Some look quite technical, but don't worry. And once you've done that, you can restart DOTE, and then you should be able to see checkpoints and also be able to peek at auto backups. If you don't install it, you won't be able to use the full functionality of the version control. And so it's a very powerful system. You don't need to know how it works. Once you've installed Git, you don't need to do it again unless there's a big security flaw later on and you might need to do it. But otherwise, just once, and that should be enough. And that means you'll be able to see and hear auto backups. You'll see your auto backups. You'll be able to peek at them and to understand what that means then, and restore them and reset them. Then you can go to the version control video tutorial and in the help guide. Okay, so those are the extra things that you should try and install, and they will make your life easier and give you much more functionality. Besides that, if I just go out of here, then you'll see in the settings we also have a bunch of other things. So when you start up DOTE the first time, install it, then you might want to just go over these and change some of these according to your own preferences, as well as maybe add some alignment symbols that you like to use if you do Mondadian transcription. And also these are the shortcuts for many of the playback and other functionality, and you can change those by clicking and then doing another key combination if you have another preference. This with space here is because it's Windows. If you're on Mac, this will be Control-N, Control-Shift-N. You might want to change that to something else. Well, that's very easy to do, and you can reset to default. And then at the bottom is the FFmpeg thing that we mentioned just before. So that's the settings you might want to set up, and those will apply to all of your transcripts and projects. And then finally, you might want to not only look at the about to see your version, but also the log directory. So if there is a bug, some problem, things don't work, then go to the log directory, and what it does, it opens a log directory. Here you'll see here's a log directory, and that has all the log files from previous sessions. And so you can take the session in which it went wrong, maybe the last session that you used by date and timestamp, and then you can send us that with a bug report in GitHub, for example, and that will give us maybe a better idea of what might have gone wrong. Because the many steps and errors behind the scenes in the use of DOTE are being logged there. You don't need to worry about those log files. They're very complex, but they might help us debug what's going wrong. Okay, that's maybe enough for now on the advanced installation video tutorial, and let's hope you don't have too many problems and you can get stuck in to actually creating transcripts. So please look at the other video tutorials and the help guide to see how to do that.